Another great day for 18 Flint Unite. Guess what? Sister Audrey is back again. We got special guests in the house today. Yes, and I'm gonna say assalamu alaikum because we got our beautiful Muslim sister and her husband with her today. We're gonna talk. I am excited to have this show come on. It's been a weekend. You all see me back in the dungeon again at my son's house. Sometimes I don't know. This might be an official place for me to start filming from. It looks like I'm doing more shows here than I've been doing from home. So, but what I wanted to do today, because many of us we know our beautiful sister Taliba, she brought the noise last week. Council. Woo, woo. He brought the noise. But it's so much more to Sister Taliba than her just coming to city council. Did you all know that? So today I'm going to give her and her husband the opportunity to talk to us a little bit about what they do. And I'm going to mute my phone because I want them both, Brother Saeed and Sister Taliba, I want you all to take the floor, explain to people what it is you do for a living, your business a little bit, and then we'll go into that next phase where I was talking about when we'll talk about a little bit what has Islam done for you, because a lot of times they see us in the community, but they don't know where we transformed from and where we were. So they have no clue about what it is that Islam really is and can do for you. It's a peaceful religion. We just don't know it. It's a peaceful, not religion, way of life. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna mute my phone, and without further ado, I'm gonna let my beloved brother and sister come on. Oh, I forgot before I say that. Like, share, and ask somebody to subscribe to YouTube because we need you all to come on. And remember, hit that cash app, $ 18 News Media, 18 News Media Group. All right, I'm gonna mute and bring you all on. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
Wow,
alaikum
salam.
assalam.
Ladies first.
Okay. Well, my name is Sister Taliba Benta. That's my Muslim name. My government name is Allison Montgomery Littlejohn. And when I speak at City Council, I always use my government name because I consider myself at work. Um, I am a social worker in the city of Flint, and I've been practicing social work since 2009 when I moved to Flint. Um, so even though I work 8:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, I go to City Council as an extension of work because my intentions is to advocate for the residents of the city of Flint. I'm originally from Detroit, the east side of Detroit. My husband teases me about that because I don't really know how to play spades. So
I'm like, is she really from the D? She really from Detroit, sis? Yo.
yeah, so let's see. Um so I'm from Detroit, and well, let me start with Islam. When I'm going to say 12 years old in 1992, I was in the sixth grade. And one of my uncles took me to see the movie Malcolm X by Spike Lee. And it had a profound effect on me. I did not know much about Malcolm X at that time. I knew a lot about other Black leaders because my mother always bought me books about Black history, but I never had a book on Malcolm X. And so I want to say I was like in the eighth grade, seventh, eighth grade. And I remember seeing that movie, Malcolm X, on cable, like on HBO. And this one scene where Malcolm X, Denzel Washington, is talking to um, Elijah Muhammad, and Elijah Muhammad makes a comment about how Black women should not perm their hair. We shouldn't eat pork. Black people shouldn't eat pork. And I remember in the eighth grade, like after seeing that, and I would watch it over and over again, I stopped perming my hair, which made my hair fall out. My mom was so mad at me. And I stopped eating pork in middle school. And at that time, it's funny because I was surrounded by Muslims. And um, how can I say? I remember holding the consciousness that I would never, ever dress like how I'm dressing now, because I saw it as a symbol of oppression, of being controlled.
Mm.
Right. So, and then I was in a community because, okay, I'm from the east side of Detroit. So I lived, anyone from Detroit know where McNichols and Joseph Campo is. I lived there. I lived in Highland Park. And I primarily went to Hamtramck Public Schools. So we moved to Hamtramck. So, now Hamtramck is booming with a lot of Muslims. So I literally grew up hearing the Adhan on the loudspeakers for the prayers, and went to school with many Muslims. And I remember during Ramadan, they would separate my peers, my Muslim peers, and put them in another cafeteria because they were fasting. Um, so Islam has always been around me, but I didn't pay attention until I was exposed to Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam. And I can remember going to school and asking a difference like between the Nation of Islam and, I'm gonna say, Orthodox Islam or Sunni Islam. And so as I got older, I maintained not eating pork. I did go back to perming my hair in high school. And then after high school, um, I had two daughters by the age of 20. So I had my first daughter my senior year, like after I graduated high school. And then by 20, I had another daughter. And around this time, it was after I had my second daughter that I remember Minister Louis Farrakhan coming to Detroit consistently. And I saw him 3 years in a row. And he would come to a church called, I think it's called Little Rock Baptist Church on Woodward Street. And I would go, and I was like amazed by how the brothers, when we would stand outside waiting to get in, and the brothers would pull up, the Nation of Islam brothers would pull up in the car, and then they would get out and they would run around to the other side and hold the door open so they wives could get out. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna get me a Muslim husband. I was convinced a Muslim husband, that's manhood. So I said, okay, I don't want to be Muslim, but I'm gonna get me a Muslim husband. That was my mindset. And then I would visit different mosques. Like I visit, is that Temple Number One? They used to be on Finkel, and it was under the leadership of Minister
Yes.
Dawood Muhammad.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I would frequently go to like the restaurant next door and buy fish sandwiches. and and then I would go to like the Moorish temple, science temple, and I would just visit. I was like hopping around trying to find, who I am or where I should go. Um During this time I was a single mom, two children. I grew up in a single home, a single parent home with my mom. And then I became a single mother. And then I found the new Black Panther Party in Detroit. And during this time, Sister Audrey, I don't know if you know about the Shrine of the Black Madonna Church. Um,
Yes. Yes.
okay, so they had that bookstore on Livernois, and I would go there and I started buying all like the Black Panther books or the original Black Panther Party. And I was like obsessed. Like, I'm like, we need to do that in the community. We need to have breakfast programs, so that gave me motivation. And then I was in and out of school at Wayne County Community College. And that's where I had met the new Black Panther Party. So after I started going to their meetings, I joined Me and my daughters joined. They were little, and we stayed like active with them. Maybe I want to say maybe a year, and it was a little. I liked it, but then it was not like the original Black Panther Party.
Mm.
So my expectations, I was a little disappointed. One thing that I do appreciate about the new Black Panther Party is that um we used to go to like drug dealer homes when residents would complain about the drug dealers. We used to hold, I guess you would say, like protests in front of their house to demand them to get out the community. Or another thing that we would frequently do is go to non-black owned gas stations, and where they would have like did an injustice to a black person in the neighborhood. So we would do that and hold a protest. Did a few other things. So, anyways, I eventually left that group and went to Eastern Michigan University. I moved to Ypsilanti, and um, I became Muslim um, in 2007. I was 27 years old. And then the next year, I met this Flint brother, Brother Saeed. And
I
you know
see.
how the Flint brothers are.
Yeah, I'm
You
from
know,
Flint. We don't know if she's from Detroit, but I'm from Flint. I'm from Flint.
he came with that smooth talk, and he got me to marry him and move to Flint after I graduated Eastern Michigan. So Flint has been the only place where I have practiced social work, and I have not been able to advocate how my heart has desired until now. The closest I've come was when I worked for GISD, Early Head Start and Head Start, and I was at my last site location because I worked at Summerfield, I was in Beecher, and then I transferred to Cummings. And this was right after the water crisis, and GISD started putting out all those grants, and U of M Flint has started Cummings, and GISD was able to get a few early Head Start classrooms in that building. And we will hold parent meetings, one in the morning and one in the evening. And the group of parents I had were really going through stuff. And so I started encouraging them, like, y'all need to go to city council, even though I had never been. I had never started going to city council until last year. And they were just doing that, encouraging families to speak up for themselves was, um, I don't know, like motivational. And it gave me a lot of energy for me to do the same. And now where I work at now, they do know that I go to city council meetings. I won't disclose where I work now. I am in the city of Flint, just out of respect for my employer. Um, I just see the need of advocacy. And just from my position as a social worker in Flint, I have had too many clients that I have encountered that are scared to advocate for themselves. So if their families are living in inferior housing, they are scared to speak up. They are scared to work with legal services of Eastern Michigan that can help them with their tenant rights and make the landlord do what they're supposed to do. So, and I just have like a deep I don't know how I want to say, like, I don't do well with injustice. I don't understand how people can sleep at night knowing that they are intentionally doing things wrong to people. And Saeed, he always tells me, this is America. This America. This a business. And I know that. I know that. But as a spiritual being, as a soul, I just don't understand. Still, I still question the consciousness of some people. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. I went back to school to Michigan State University to get my master's in social work. And so my concentration is with organization and community leadership. I do have a small interest with doing some counseling with some people. So, my main focus is advocacy. So, and I find that through advocacy, it does bring healing to a community. Like when you voice your opinions and your concerns and your hurt, that brings healing to someone's heart. So I hope I'm making sense, but I feel like my mission, my sole mission of me being experiencing this reality and being in this lifetime is to help people heal. So not only does speaking my mind helps me to heal my hurt, but inshallah, God willing, I am helping others to do the same, giving them the motivation to do the same, to bring awareness and healing to a community. Because I feel like Flint, I feel like how they say Flint is resilient, the residents in Flint are resilient. I feel like they play on that though. Like they use that as a welcome mat. You know what I mean? Like they oppress us with that. I don't know if that's the right word, but they use that as an excuse. And people get tired of being resilient. The Quran tells us that after hardship comes ease. And it seems like ease is never coming. It's a continuum of hardships. So I want to break that cycle, to help break that cycle in Flint.
Allah, Allahu Akbar. When you come down there and the way you were talking down there and advocating, it sounded like you were already doing the counseling. You
Mm.
sound already like you were actually a counselor, social worker, counselor. My sister had her master's degree in social work,
Hmm.
and she was a counselor and she worked at Hurley Mental Health Services.
Wow.
So she did that for years. She started out when she first got her master's. She started out working over at Ennis with the
Hmm.
adoption program, and then she found her happy space actually at being a counselor. She really did. She returned to Allah a couple of years ago. She
Hmm.
did and had been sick for some years, and I tell you, she was so strong. She went into surgery and came out and her clients was calling her on her phone and she was trying to still counsel them while
Wow.
she was in pain. When she was on her sick bed and in hospice, she was still trying to counsel her client. And we're
Hmm.
like, you can't counsel them. We got to take care of you. But your voice, the way you were sounding there, I recognized the counselor in you
Okay.
actually from speaking. I'm like, she got to be counseling somebody. She got to be a therapist somewhere. And when you started to breaking down the different aspects of what you can see, I said, there go that mental health aspect, there go that psychology aspect. Because like you, I have a minor in psychology too.
Hmm.
So you all you may have your one of your uh, specialties might be in psychology, but me, I have a minor in psychology. So I had to go through a whole lot of psychology classes. I'm a practicing occupational therapist. So
Hmm.
that's a big part of healing is always what's going on in your mind. If your mind
Hmm.
ain't right, the rest of your body is not going to function. And that's why a lot of us are having a lot of the problems and the issues that we have because our mind is just not right. It's
Hmm.
just not. I really appreciate you and appreciate what you just said and your background and your history and everything because I didn't know you were from Detroit. Brother, she can't play cards, huh?
Sis, at this point, it's my fault. At this point, I take the blame now because I
Yes,
still haven't
sir.
taught her how to play.
You got to teach her how to play, sir. You got to teach.
Man.
Hey, look, it's so funny. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna let you come and kick in. I'm gonna say
Uh,
two. Being a child growing up, once my mother and the nation kind of disseminated some, my
mm,
mom used to want us to play cards. My mother's friends, a couple of them who used to go to the mosque, she's still associated with them and some of their friends. So sometimes they would never have 4 people to sit at the table. So they made me learn how to play. I was like, "Well, they sit at the table with them, so they can have another partner." So they trained me and and they even trained me how to play Bid Whiz. They needed another partner. I'm rusty with it, but it was so funny though. But I learned it a couple weeks ago. My cousin said, "Cuz, I'm gonna come by and we gonna play spades." He said, "I promise I won't hold all my spades in my hand. I grown up and know what not to do because none of us would let him be our partner. We would make him be my mama's partner. So my mama would holler at him all the time. I mean, and his brother would always win and beat them. But that was funny. But when we started, another aspect I was thinking about, and a lot of people don't know. Prophet Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with him, peace be upon him, came to actually to free the woman and to liberate us and to help us to be whole because a lot of us was oppressed. And so he came and lifted that veil of oppression up off of us and brought us and made us whole. And a lot of people don't know that his picture sits at the Department of Justice in that emblem around. I showed it one time on the show because without him and what he did and the laws that he brought, our American government, our American law system wouldn't be anything because they took from him what it was that he brought, which came from who? God and law. It came from the law. So a lot of people don't know that where they sit up and say, I've had several conversations here in the last couple of weeks, especially concerning because of the war. A lot of people, and I'm basically in Detroit working most of the time. I'm on the west side. I'm over like Farmington Hills and in that area. So you get a different aspect and a different mindset from people. But most of them who's speaking out against it is the blacks. It's not, I mean, I'm in quite a few homes that are Jewish. Many of them don't say anything at all. They say that they're not in agreement with the war. That's what they give to me. But it's our own people who are like, them people over there, the Hamas they not right. And I'm saying, then I just play like I don't know. I said, I'm not understanding the whole aspect of it. Can you explain? Because I want them to tell me where their perspective is at and how they got to that. And so a lot of times I said, well, there might be some wrong on both sides. Can we look at it like that? But their mind is just focused in on that. They don't understand. And I always say this, I say this every year. Next year, we're going to have to definitely all be together and do something during Ramadan because I always say one Umrah. We are one community as Muslims, no matter what our division is, no matter where we go, Orthodox, Nation of Islam, Sunni, we one community. When Ramadan starts, we exemplify it. We show one community and really good and strong. I really love it. I really appreciate it. But a lot of times, even our foreign Muslims, they come into town. They don't know that I had one question me at my job and ask me, "Do we pray 5 times a day?" I'm like, yeah. And then he asked me, well, do you? He started asking me different things of what it was that we were doing. But a lot of times people don't know because they're not practicing. They think that, the nation not practicing Islam. They don't know the history behind it. And it's a very good, strong history that's behind it. We were never taught that we were different. We thought that we came up different because we were black. That's it. And we had to be able to because we lost in the transatlantic slave trade. We lost who we were. We came here. We came here Muslim. I appreciate what the Roots. Remember in Roots when Kunta Kinte and what he was saying, he was still talking and talking Islam. So they know that, but a lot of people miss that part of the movie. But I'm gonna be quiet because I want my brother Saeed to come forward and tell his history, and then we're gonna blend y'all to it together with it because I'm loving hearing what I'm saying, and a lot of people need to know that. So, brother, I'm gonna let you go ahead and give your aspect. I'm gonna put myself back on mute. So I'll be over here and then go, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I don't want the people to hear me interrupt you. Go ahead, sorry.
All right. My name is Brother Saeed Littlejohn. That's my Muslim name. Saeed Abdul Khalik is my Muslim name. My government name is Dennis Littlejohn. Everybody from Flint know me as DJ. I'm actually from Flint. No, let's do a fun fact right now. I was born in Jackson, Michigan. And so my mom moved up here when I was like 1.5, and we moved to Beecher first. And then from there we moved to Flint. So I'm actually born in Jackson, Michigan. I don't think nobody in Flint know that. Right. So we airing this out right now on Yo Show. That's a debut right there. But I was raised here. I went to public school here. I went to Stewart Elementary. I went to McKinley Junior High. Then I went to Southwestern High School. Graduated from there. As far as Islam, I guess I'll start with Islam. My story is kind of like her, my wife's. But I read the book, Malcolm X autobiography. And my mom was Christian, but she didn't go to church. She wasn't a going to church Christian, so and my father was in prison, so I was a single household. So my father went to prison, I think, when I was 5. Went to prison when I was 5, 4 or 5. That's the last time I remember, him. I have a vivid memory of sitting on his lap. And when I was 4 or 5, next thing I know, he's gone. I don't see him, And so my his side of the family reached out at one point and was like, "You want to visit your dad?" And I'm like, "Where?" I'm older now at like 10. I'm probably 10 then. I'm like, "Where?" They're like, "Prison." I'm like, "Nah, I don't want to see nobody in prison." So my mom raised me, and then I think when I was about 14 is when I read Malcolm X book, 14, 15. And I was like, man, I love this, but I don't know I'm going to be Muslim, so I just was like, man, I like this. And so I got a big brother who you might know. He's like my big brother, Mr. Rhymes. So I used to be at Mr. Rhymes, John Rhymes' house all the time, right? He treated me like a son, And so I used to be with him all the time. And he was heavy in the church, still is, And so he used to go to Metropolitan. And so he used to take me all the time. And it was cool, but I felt like, why do I feel weird? Like I'm watching everybody else jump around and, and they feel some type of way, but I feel the opposite. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, why do I feel the opposite? Like, I never told him that either. I just, used to go because he was a good man, and he took care of me. And so I used to go and I'm like, man, I feel different. And so, years pass, and then I get out of high school. I'm in Flint, so I'm not doing the best things, So I moved to California. One of my cousins in Lansing, one of my good cousins, he's like, I'm moving to Cali to help my mom, and I'm like, California? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna check it out. So my intentions really was to go visit, but I stayed, So that was like after I went to Central Michigan, messed up there. And so it's like 1991. So I moved to Cali with him, and we're out there working jobs, just trying to fit in. And we're really learning about California. And I was out there for all the events. I was out there for the OJ event. I was out there for the
Rodney King.
The Rodney King.
Yeah.
OJ, Rodney King, and it was the earthquake. I was out there for the earthquake in Northridge. And so that's when I knew I wasn't going to retire in California, that earthquake. I was like, nah, we get tornado warnings, bro. I am not retiring. This give you anxiety. So I'm out there. And while I'm out there, one of my big cousins, Yusuf, he became Muslim, right? While I'm out there. And so I come home to visit, and I see him, and I'm, the stuff that we used to do together. He's like, oh, I don't do that no more. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah. I don't do any of that. I'm like, yeah, all right. So I continue doing, drinking and smoking,
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I don't do it. And I'm like, this guy's tripping. And he's like, I'm Muslim. And I'm like, you Muslim? Oh, okay, cool. So anytime I would come visit, I would just watch him. And I'm like, why does he keep getting up, disappearing? I'm like, he's doing something. He's just not showing me he's doing it, right? So one day I decided to follow him. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to follow him. So I follow him. And he's praying. He's making salah. So I bust in his room and he's making salah and his head is on the ground. And when he gets up and he finishes, he salams out. And I'm like, man, what is that? He's like, that's Islam. That's the prayer. And I'm like, man, that looks peaceful. Right? And he's like, it is. You need to get it. That's all he says. So we go on, we continue. I go to California. I come back another time to visit. I think it was my cousin's death. So I come back to visit, but I go down there to Yusuf, and it's Ramadan. I'm not Muslim. He says, man, you should do Ramadan. You should do a couple days with me. I said, not eat? Man, that sounds crazy. I said, not eat from dusk till sunset? Nah, that's nuts. He said, try it. So I tried it. So sis, I tell you, to this day, I did it, right? So the first day, we were supposed to go to some brother's house in Jackson, Michigan. That's where he stayed. So we were supposed to go down there, and we were supposed to break fast with some other brothers. He said, man, we're not going to make it. Let's just stop at the store and get something. We stopped at the store in Jackson, Michigan, and got some Doritos and water. Best Doritos I ever had in my life. I was questioning him. I was like, hey. I swear. I was like, why y'all Doritos taste better? Y'all got more cheese and stuff on y'all? Seasonings? What? The water was so good. I was like, yo. And he was like, no, that's Ramadan. He was like, you appreciate stuff more. It makes you appreciate, things more. And it's a taste. It tastes better because you haven't eaten, So I did that. I left. When I got back to Cali, the next year, I called him. Man, when is Ramadan? He said, wow, that's crazy. It's like 1 week. I'm like, I want to do it. So from there, I practiced Ramadan for at least 10 years. I'm not Muslim yet, but I'm participating in Ramadan. So I come back here like 96, 97, and I'm hanging out with him, and I'm asking questions about Islam, and he's just answering them. And he never pressured me. He just answered the question and keep going. I keep asking questions. And he's like, one day he's like, you keep asking questions about Islam. Why you haven't become Muslim? I'm like, because I'm doing stuff that's gonna make me a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, I don't want to be a hypocrite. So I know I'm doing stuff that Muslims don't do. Because I've been reading up a little bit now, and he's been teaching me. I'm like, oh, you can't do that. You can't do this. And he said, nah. He said, you become Muslim, so you stop doing those things. Became Muslim like the next day, right? So I became Muslim. So I've been Muslim 20 years now. 20 years. Yep, since 2004. So I became Muslim. And at that time, I got 2 sons. Baby, you didn't say how many kids you got. She got 50 kids, and they go say she don't have no kids, right? So I had 2 sons, from my previous marriage, and so I'm like, all right, well, if I'm gonna be Muslim, we go, be Muslim. So I start, teaching them, showing them, and that's how I came into Islam, and then I started going to a community here in Flint. I went to Musta King Masjid first over on Flushing and Ballinger. I went there first, loved it. It was a great community, real small, but it was like family. And then that was before we got married, right?
No.
I'm at Musta King first?
No, you went to Flint Islamic Center first before we got married.
I'm in Flint Islamic Center first.
Yeah.
I'm in Swartz Creek. So, those they have a lot of money out there. And it's like they know me, but they don't really know me. And it's like I got to the point. I'm like, okay, it's a little racist. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's not supposed to be racism in Islam. So I'm calling my cousin, like, man, it seems like they're a little racist out here. And And he's like, yeah. You know. And that's when he taught me Islam is perfect. The people in it, they not.
Mm-hmm.
He said they human. So I'm like, okay. You know, and I experienced some stuff with them. You know, I won't go into details, but I'm like, oh, all right, got it. And so then I actually we had an incident and she had to advocate for me. She was advocating for me, wrote a letter, heck of a letter, right? Because I needed some assistance at the time. Because I had an injustice done to me at a job of mine. So she wrote a letter asking them to help, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, they didn't help, you know. So that's when I was like,
what they asked you? What did the brother ask you?
What did I do?
No, he said, are you a bad person?
Are you a bad person? You know, I said, nah, to the contrary, I'm a good guy, you know. And so, you know, whatever. And I love some of the, you know, brothers out there. I got some good brothers out there. But that's when I learned, oh, it is racism in Islam. Okay, cool. And so then we got married. When we get married? What year?
2009.
2009?
Yeah.
That's 15 years?
Yes.
SubhanAllah. We've been married 15 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so then we get married. You know, after she was on me. So she trying to act like I was talking smooth. She was on me. Right. She was on me, sis. She was on me. She was. So we get married. And then she moves up here, right? Got a good job quick up here too, didn't you?
Yeah.
It was like
before we got
married.
And that rushed us to get married.
Rushed us to get married because she's like, I'm moving up there. Right. So then we get married and then we go to Musa King. Great community. We really built you know, it's mostly blacks, you know, African Americans and Africans there. So we built a great community there. Great community. I still, you know, got some of my good people there. And then from there, I went to the Muslim house. Right. So the Imam there, Abdul Malik, he is like 77. And he built that masjid with his hands, physically, with his hands. So it's still there. Been there, probably 30, 40 years.
A long time.
Yeah, a long time. At least probably like 30 years. So I got with him, and that's my home now. And I'm there all the time. We help the community. We feed the community every third Saturday. You know, we do stuff during Ramadan for the kids. And it's real small. You know, we have, you know, after COVID, a lot of the brothers and sisters, they just stopped coming to the masjid, you know, out of fear, out of whatever. I don't know why, but we still there. And that's how I became Islam. And Islam, I don't know, it just helped me find peace, you know, and find who I really am. And just help me, you know, try to be better all the time. And like you said, the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he is in the United States. If they look it up, they say he's the greatest person in history. That's the U.S. That's not the Muslims saying it. It's the U.S. says it. They say he's the greatest person in history. You know, so we you know, I just try to follow that, you know, as best as I can, and just raise the kids up with it. You know, because I see that it helps with the discipline, you know, which a lot of us are we don't have, you know, and this community, this society doesn't let you be, you know, it doesn't I don't know what word I want to use, but it's like if you discipline, it pushes back.
Yeah.
The society does. Like if I want to have morals, you know, and integrity, the society is like, nah, don't do that. Don't have that.
Yeah.
You know, do be unjust
and
do this and do that, all the wrong stuff that you shouldn't be doing. That goes against this, like you said, way of life. This deen, this social pattern that we should have, that's godly. You know, and it pushes back. You know, whatever you try to do right, it's like, no, do wrong. It's like wrong is better. You know, regarding to anything, relationship, marriages, it's like, nah, have a side piece. Have you 3 side pieces. Don't get married. You know, so it's like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. So I just try to my best to navigate that and stay out of the way, and you know, and as far as me, you could tell who the firecracker in the house is. You see it's her. You see it's her. She's a firecracker. I'm the chill one. I'm chill. Right. So that's right.
Mm-hmm.
But
Uh,
what I appreciate though is that you allow her to be that way. Not saying like I got strings on her, but
yeah.
you're comfortable in your space and you comfortable with her being who she is.
Yeah.
That's great appreciation because many times in the community, I remember being at a program and I spoke out in the way I spoke out. A woman came to me. She said, "I never knew that women in Islam spoke." I,
Mm,
and I
Yes.
was like, yeah,
yeah.
we got boys. And
Mm-hmm.
she said I changed her perspective of
Mm,
what she saw and what she thought. Because a lot of times they see what they see on TV or what they're told. And
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And just
they
like
don't,
just
go
yeah.
ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that's just how they just think. But go ahead,
Yeah.
I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Even with her niqab, that's her choice. I wasn't like, oh, you got to put on a niqab.
Yeah.
That was her. She was like, oh no, I'm ready to wear that.
Okay.
You know, so that it was just another level that she
Uh,
had reached. I had
yeah.
nothing to
Yeah.
do with it. I was like, yeah, all right. And I at some time, at some before that, I used to be like, I don't know, because you go get more
Yeah.
looks.
Yeah.
You know, you might get more irritated. Somebody might say something,
Mm-hmm.
but that was my only concern. And then she was like, I'm wearing it. I'm like, cool. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't choose that.
For yourself. Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I appreciate that because, like you say, a lot of times, many people in the community they have this perspective of what it is that they can't do. Like I know in the beginning when people found out, I was Muslim or whatever, certain conversations or certain things they didn't feel
Mm,
comfortable talking and discussing. Nothing that's erotic or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. But
right.
certain things they didn't feel comfortable talking, and then they said, "Oh, they realized I'm human too.
Right.
I suffer
Mm-hmm.
just like you suffer. We have the same ills and the same pain. We know
Exactly.
we all have been going down the same pathway. And so once they realized that and found that out, like they're starting to find out more and more stuff about Sister Taliba. She when she came in there, they wasn't expecting her to get up to that microphone and speak
Mm-hmm.
like
Exactly.
and it's eloquent. I mean, I mean, hijab or not, what you spoke was so on point, and you did it so eloquently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they weren't expecting that, and
Yeah.
that's why. Excuse me, me myself, I can appreciate that
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know what to expect. But we you give it you gave us this perspective, and you both of you all together. I was like, she got her husband got to be stronger. When I met you that day, I see you around, but I didn't
Right.
realize you were her husband. And I was like, he was like, "My wife love you," and I was like, "Who's your wife?" And we used to have to, I people. But I was just excited and stuff. So you told me then you have a business. I want you to hit on what it is that you do in your business.
Oh, my business.
I'm gonna get your
Yeah,
juice.
Okay.
we talked a little bit about that because we got about 10 more minutes and we're gonna be
Okay.
wrapping it up. But I want you to give that to us before we start wrapping up. Yes, sir.
Okay. So my business is called Healthy Side, SIDE juice. And so if you look at it, it's like heal thy side. And so the sides, you know, where your organs are. So I started that about 5 years ago. So I started with my juices.
Can you see?
Yeah, they can see it.
Okay.
I started just trying to be more healthy in my household, you know, with my wife and my children. So I just started juicing. I got a juicer and I started juicing here, and everybody liked it, and they was like, "Oh, the
Mm-hmm.
juices are good. The juices are good." So a lot of the times, one of my cousins used to come over all the time, and I would have some juice, and he's like, "What's that?" He'll taste it. He's like, "Oh, that's good." And he's a truck driver, and so I'm juicing at the house, you know, just trying to figure out recipes and what works, what doesn't. And then the more he tasted my juices, he was like, "Hey man, I go to juice bars across the country. You could sell these." You know, I got to a point. He was like, "Man, you can sell this." I'm like, sell it, and I'm 53. So I'm like, I'm working regular jobs, and I'm like, sell it. And I actually had a Islamic store before,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
with clothes, Islamic clothing, a little bit of literature, incense, stuff of that nature. But of course, the community didn't support it. They begged me for it, because I always got on kufis and thobes and stuff. They begged me for it. Didn't happen. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, being entrepreneur again. And I know I need to be, because me and corporate America, we don't get along, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a good worker. I just don't like getting stiff, and I don't like micromanaging. I don't want people to micromanage me. Just let me do my work. I'm a grown man. Let me do my work and go home,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, start another business, and so I started it. I jumped out there. And I started at the Muslim house, excuse me, on the porch. And so I'm like, I'm gonna see what the Muslims come, and this my family. They go tell me it was good, nasty, or whatever. And so I started out there, and I sold it. Like when I look back at it now, man, my stuff was so raggedy. It was so raggedy.
Don't say
My
that.
label was crazy. My setup was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But they support it, and they like,
Mm-hmm.
that's delicious. And so my first one was like a green. I think I did the green drink and an orange drink. I did an orange drink first. I did a green drink first. And so I'm doing my research, because I've always been the person in my family who everybody calls, man, my back hurt. What should I be taking?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I got this. What should I take? Because they know I'm in the herbs and healing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing research, and I'm like, man, I got to get this beet juice to the community, right? But I know my age and younger, nobody eats beets. You
Mm-hmm.
know, grandmama and them did. The older aunties and them did. Now nobody eats beets. So I'm like, I got to get this beets to the people, especially to the sisters, for the iron content. So I did the beet juice, and like 3 brothers was like, beets? Oh no, I don't do beets, bro. And I'm like, okay, taste it. They tasted it, and they like, that's kind of good. I could do beets. So they bought them, and I'll never forget. They bought them. They called me like an hour later. I was like, bro, what you putting that beets? I said, what you talking about? They said, I got energy. They said, I
Mm-hmm.
got a burst of energy. I said, man, your iron was low. So at that point, that's when I was like, oh, I need to do this for my community.
Mm-hmm.
So I started right there, and then COVID hit. So I got nervous, because at that time I didn't have, the credentials that I should have, and people was telling on people just for not wearing a mask. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be outside on the porch selling a drink, and people calling in, he's selling, a drink on the porch, so because my license and stuff wasn't right. So I kind of chilled out just a little bit, and then I really got my recipes right. And then when I jumped back out this time, then that's when I got my bottles and a quality sticker. And when I reached out to that was Mama Soul, right? So Mama Soul, my homie, just from growing up, we both from the South Side. And I saw her in the farmer's market, and she said, "What you doing nowadays?" I said, "I'm juicing." She said, "Juicing as a business?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Man, I'm sick."
Mm-hmm.
She said, "I'm sick, man. I'm sick again." She said, "Holler at me. I need your juices." I said, "Okay, cool." So I was taking her. She was like, "I want the green juice." So my green juice has apple, kale, collard greens, cucumber, lime, and kiwi. And so she's like, "I need the green juice." And so I kept just giving her green juices, giving her green juices. I saw her at her lowest, and then I saw her start to get stronger,
Yeah.
right? And she was like, "Your green juice is helping me." She said, "When I get strong, I'm opening a vegan restaurant, and we go put your juices in, and we go heal this city." Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that turned into, she was getting a lot of love from different people. And so it turned into like 6 of us And she said, look, we gonna open a spot. I'm gonna make it nonprofit, but y'all in there for profit, right? And so, you know, time kept going by. All of those people dropped off, and it's just me and her again. And then we have Buffy. She does the vegan food, and so we're going to open a vegan spot in Totem Restaurant. So we should be starting early July, inshallah. And so we're gonna have the vegan food and the juices. And then just as far as my juices, the word just got out, word of mouth. I kept growing, you know, kept perfecting my recipes, and now I got brothers in the hood calling me for beet juice, and brothers in the hood like hood brothers calling me like, hey, I need 2 beet juices, I need 2 of the blue juices, I need the green, I need the orange. You know, I got some people, they just want the green. They like, the green gives me energy, I don't even have to eat all day. And
the ginger shots.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my ginger shots too. So the ginger shots, everybody's like, oh no, this is it. You know, you take one in the morning, energy is up. So it just grew from there. And then I'm steadily improving and trying to level up, you know, because I want it in the store. My vision is to have it in Meyer.
Because you was
one
invited.
Day. Yeah, because I was invited to talk to somebody from Meyer. I let him taste my ginger shot, and he was like, yeah, you need to be in here. You know, so that's still the goal, but it's some stuff I have to do, you know, as far as paperwork and, you know, and but that's the goal. And my goal is just to help heal the city, you know, just like she has her healing, her way of healing. And I feel mine is through my juices, because we you know, we have enough fish and chicken affairs in Flint. No shade to them. I used to work there. I used to work at the one on Pearson and Fleming. So no shade, you know, but we have enough of those. We need something that's healthy. And my goal is just to balance it. You know, everybody's drinking alcohol. Everybody's doing drugs. Everybody's eating unhealthy. At some point, you have to put something healthy into your body, or your body's gonna shut down, you know, and you're gonna be sick. So that's my goal. You know, just to help the city heal better with my juices. And right now, I deliver. You know, I'm like Uber, you know, not Uber, DoorDash, with my juices. Like, I really pull up anywhere. Like, people will call me like, I'm at Walmart with my mom, can you bring me 3 juices? And I pull up. Like, here you go. You know,
even meeting people from Detroit. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh yeah.
Meeting them at halfway.
Yeah, I meet people in Detroit halfway at the what is it, Great Lakes Crossing. If they call, I need some juices, I'm like, I'll meet you halfway. So I'll do that. I actually have one of my cousins. I have to meet him in Ann Arbor. He's in Jackson, so I'm meeting him in Ann Arbor this weekend for his juices. So it's really funny, because I realized, man, it doesn't matter how old you are, you can start over. You know, and I was like, man, I'm 53 and I'm juicing. If you'd have told me I'd have been a juice, you know, have a juice bar, I'd have been like, yeah, okay, whatever. That sounds crazy, but it's a reality, you know. And so, you know, that's just the way I feel I heal the city, and to give us a balance. And I don't want people to be vegan. I don't want you to stop doing whatever, but just balance it, you know.
There you go. I got it off the mute. Wow.
Excuse me.
We gonna have to get you all back on here again. I'm gonna tell you when we get off the air, because we got about 2 or 3 minutes that I'm gonna wrap up. I want you all to take about 30 seconds and just give me a closing, and then I'm gonna close out the show. If you can give me about 30 seconds, anything you want to say to the people before we close this out?
As far as me, man, I just want to say, I love Flint, and I appreciate Flint, because they trust me, and they show me love with my juices. And I'm a Black Muslim man selling juices in Flint, and yes, everybody trusts me, and they love me for it.
Great.
You firecracker.
Yeah, even though I'm not from Flint, I feel the same way. And I remember having an intense feeling of God telling me that this community is where I am supposed to do my work. And this was when I was working for GISD and I was stationed at Summerfield. And I know that my purpose is here. And even my granny has told me that. I didn't say this, but my father is from Flint. I didn't get a chance to meet him, and he passed away. So I didn't grow up with him. So there is a spiritual reason why I am here. Allah has me here to help the community. And I am grateful for this experience.
Okay, great, great, great. What I want you to do is I know well, I know scheduling and everything. We're gonna have to get a chance, like I said, to get you all back on. But when
So
we close out, I want one of every one of your juices, and I
I
want to
got you.
know what they do. Sister Taliba, you send me y'all cash out and
Okay.
send me the amount I need to send to you. I'm gonna send that to you today, and I'll make arrangements to get a pickup this week when I get back into town.
I got
Okay.
you.
I definitely one time when you start talking about the beet juice, my daughter needs some. We both got low iron.
Yeah, I
And when you
know.
talk
Mm-hmm.
about ginger shots, I've heard people talk about ginger shots. So
Yeah,
I definitely want to get with that and everything. So
I
Mickey, I
got
got
you.
time. I think I got a little bit of time. I could go ahead and give us the rundown of our schedule for the week. We like everybody to go and hit that cash out,
Yeah.
donate to 18 News Media Group. We support independent radio, independent podcasts. Please go into Cash App, $ Cat 18 News Media Group. We want you all to come on and support all of the programs this week. We got on Monday through Friday, 9 to 11. We got the bump on Wednesday at 12 noon. We got Trevor. We got Winters coming on Thursday afternoon with Thursday evening. She got the Winters Hall show at 6. On Friday is the big heavy day that we got 9 to 11. We got the bump. Then at 1 o'clock, you got Trevor and Clack. Then at 5 o'clock, you got Carol with community conversation. You got Winters and Sister Anna from the DMV coming on with Sister Circle at 6. You got Ashley Rich at 8. That's Friday. Brother, that's just Friday alone. Then on Saturday morning, you got Tanya Burns come on at 10 o'clock. Then
Mm-hmm.
you got me again on Sunday. We like to invite you out we want to invite you to the Muslim house. What time is your services at the Muslim
Uh,
house?
2 o'clock on Friday. Everybody's welcome.
Two
You don't have
o'clock
to
on
pray.
Friday, lots of Juma.
Yes,
You gotta
Juma.
come
You don't have to pray anything. You just come in.
Just come in. It's a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
Please, so if not there, go somewhere to Juma Fridays. And then at the Nation of Islam at our mosque, we have services every Sunday at 11. We have the FOI class on Monday, which is the brothers at 7:30. You got Wednesday and Friday 7:30 for the study group, which is the self-improvement study group. And on Saturday mornings at 9, we go to Detroit for class for the MGT, and you get to learn a lot about what Islam is. It's not that you join it, but you're getting ready to learn a little bit about it. But if
Mm.
you're not able to come out on Sundays at 11, tune in to noi.org. That's where you can hear the Sunday lecture from in Chicago. I also want to invite you, and I'm building it up